What's up guys, I'm KBHD here, and this is the most ridiculous pair of headphones I have ever owned, and I regret nothing. This is the Sennheiser HD820. You might remember these actually at CES when we first got a glimpse of these. They showed up on a bunch of different channels in the form of a first look. They had like 2 pairs at the Sennheiser booth and everyone was dying to try them out, and we did. And they sounded great, but that was on a really crowded show floor. You're surrounded by noise. You're listening to the one song they have available on repeat over and over again, trying to appreciate them, but you can only experience so much out there. And so that begs the question, what's it like to actually bring them home and experience and own a pair of these ridiculously high-end headphones? So they promised a couple of things with these, actually. First of all, the super wide soundstage, similar to the legendary open-back Sennheiser HD800s and 800Fs, but with all the benefits of closed back thanks to the glass here. So you know what, right off the bat, let's start with the price. They're $2,400 headphones. So yeah, no, this isn't a buyer's guide. Personally, I don't really care past a certain price if they're $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. They're all ridiculous compared to the $100 to $300 headphones I spend most of my time listening to. But you do get some insane specs for that price. Now, specs on some headphones might actually be the least important part, but just so you know, they are these huge 56mm drivers, same size as the HD800s. They have a frequency response that ranges from 12 to 43,800 hertz. They have an impedance of 300 ohms, as you can see etched onto the side of the ear cups. And they are, of course, a completely over-ear design with lightweight leather ear cups that wrap completely around your ear without touching it. It kind of feels like having premium speakers floating next to your ears. They have this thinner velvet-lined foam up at the top, and it's actually structurally made of mostly just hard plastic, but without feeling cheap, because plastic is lightweight, and I'll talk more about that weight in a second. And there's a 3-meter high-quality braided cable, removable at the gold-plated connectors at both of the ends. And then the signature piece is this concave Gorilla Glass cup behind the drivers, which serves to reduce interference from the outside sound and making it closed back. And so the final result, the finished package, is this huge, absolutely massive pair of headphones. Obviously, they're way bigger than you're normally used to seeing, but that's because they can be. Like, these are not your out and about type of headphones. These aren't your plug into your phone and walk outside pair of headphones. Actually, it's the opposite of that. These are just your proper sit down and listen, and that's it type of pair of headphones. So that's what they're designed for. They don't have to be low impedance. They don't have to be highly efficient with smaller drivers. They don't have to be noise canceling or any of that stuff. They just have to be lightweight and comfortable for listening for long periods of time, because that's what you want to do with these, is just sit back and listen for a long time. And really, that's what, of course, we're most interested in from the start with a pair of headphones like this, is how they sound. That is the focus. And I can tell you right now, they sound absolutely amazing. But really, actually, the interesting thing with these is they're supposed to be a closed back headphone with all the benefits of an open back design, or as close to an open back pair as a closed back pair can get, if that's making sense. Basically, a typical high-end pair of open back headphones has the classic trade-off. Because they're open, the upside is a much wider soundstage, things sounding like they're coming from across the room, and a variety of areas, a very dynamic sound. But the downside is massive bleed in both directions. Everyone around you can hear what you're listening to, and you can hear things from outside and in your environment outside of the music. So in a loud space, you'll hear that too. So that was the deal with HD800 and HD800S, and pretty much any other high-end pair of open back headphones I've ever tried. But the HD820, on the other hand, closed back, but open back, but closed back. There's this concave piece of Gorilla Glass over the driver. That stops a lot of sounds from getting in or out, so the bleed is dramatically less. The people around you will hear much less of what you're listening to, but more importantly, for me anyway, you hear less of the world around you. It's not a complete seal, it's not noise canceling, but when you put them on, you hear a lot less. So like I said, it's not going to be noise canceling by any means. You'll definitely still hear the loudest stuff, but because of that seal all the way around your ear and because of the glass, it's reduced in a major way. It's like going from a big empty room to a much quieter, sound-treated empty room. The soundstage, though, is still extremely wide. And that would be thanks to the huge drivers and the air actually in between the drivers and the glass and the space between your ear and the drivers. So it's still kind of a spread out situation, which is why the headphones are so big. So it's a very complex solution to a real problem, but I can verify that it has the intended effect. And the end result is an amazing listening experience, as it better be for $2,400. Okay, here's where it does it for me. For headphones like this, I feel like I can listen to them at very high volumes. I keep wanting to turn the volume up, because when I do, instead of it getting more harsh or more like shrill at those, especially the trebles and the high pitches, it just gets more full. Like there's just more sound. It's so much easier to listen to. I hope that makes sense. Like turning the volume up too high on normal headphones, obviously it gets distorted, it gets too loud, and it's hard to listen to. It hurts your ears. But turning the volume up really high on these just feels like more intensity and more sound and more volume without being harsh. I don't know, to an audiophile this probably seems ridiculous what I'm saying right now, but that's just how I feel. And the other thing is I'm listening to these, I'm driving them with an Apollo Twin Mark II, and I'm listening to compressed files from streaming services, so I'm clearly not getting 100% out of these or any headphones probably over $1,000 at this setup here, but it is still a $900 amp and it sounds pretty damn good, and I've been using it at my desk for a while. I've had the Mark I for years, it drives my speakers, and my go-to tracks I'm listening to on Tidal and Spotify. Tidal actually this year introduced what's called a master quality, which is much higher than CD quality apparently, but only a couple artists and albums actually support it with this little letter M. But basically whenever I could, I attempted to listen to the highest available quality possible on Tidal or Spotify. My go-to tracks for assessing audio and listening to songs I'm familiar with for headphones, Contact by Daft Punk, 6 straight minutes of absolutely jaw on the floor, amazing mastering. Listen to that on any pair of headphones, it's great. Strobe by Deadmau5, at its peak, kind of sounds like you're on another planet. Say Nada by Shaka, that's just one of my favorites, and that's also a more pop-heavy song. There's more bass, there's more kick and vocals. And then anything by Vane Sill or C2C, just amazing mastering. And that's the type of stuff that you'll really appreciate on these headphones, because different instruments and different sounds will be so separate. That's called instrument separation. They'll be so separate and distinct and crisp and clear that you'll feel like you're appreciating the song in a whole new way. That might be the most cliche thing I've ever said about high-end headphones, but it's actually true. These are dope tech, 100%. Everything from the way they're packaged, to how they sound, to how they look, to how comfortable they are. It's an experience. Maybe this is probably the best way I can explain listening to this pair of headphones versus a regular pair. With a regular pair of headphones on, it might look or feel to your senses like this. Like you're getting a lot out of it. You get a lot of bass, a lot of highs, a lot of mid-tones. It sounds pretty clear, and everything seems available to your senses, and that's great. But then switching to a pair like this might be like your senses kind of change, where it might seem a little bit flat at first. It might not be as punchy in the bass, but suddenly you realize all these things you're missing out on, all these highlights, all these shadows, all these textures get a lot more vibrant and clear. It's the best analogy I can make because I'm a video person, but hopefully that does it for you. But my final thoughts really can be, obviously in the very expensive world of high-end audio, this is probably the nicest pair of headphones I'm ever gonna get to try or listen to, and I'm totally okay with that. And Sennheiser, I hope you're cool that I don't think I wanna ever give them back. Honestly, they're perfect for a studio environment. For me, for someone, not that I'm making high-end mixes and masters and sounds and audio projects, but just as someone who's listening to things in a studio where I want to block out high-end sound, but I still do want that vibrant, wide soundstage experience. The open/closed back design of these actually delivers that, and that's pretty awesome. So I'm definitely a fan of these now. They are certified dope tech. Also, colorware, if you ever plan on supporting these like you did with the HD800s. Either way, that's been it. Thank you for watching. Talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.